We're live.
I agree. I think anything we can do, because I know we want to bring people downtown, and that's great, but that's probably the busiest intersection of our entire city.
Without a doubt, we've got the numbers to back it up for sure.
So when you think about that, anything that's going to make it look more inviting, I agree, there's probably two sides of that that we probably can't do a whole lot with,
Yeah.
but there's two pieces to that I would love to see something look a little nicer than what it is.
Well, what I always say is just anything that's not four corners of concrete could be an improvement, because it's every single corner is parking right now, and some of those might never change, but some of it we could do something in between that parking and the curb or.
Two of those parking areas don't look so bad, but
Yes.
two do. So
absolutely.
I think if
Absolutely.
we could.
And Joe and I talked about, we always flirt with the idea of some kind of small town banner. It's always a thing you notice in quaint small towns is the, hey, welcome to 4th of July parade, this date or whatever. And that's really difficult to do with our wind speeds around here. But that would be the right intersection, it seems like, or right past that as you're entering, okay, now I know downtown's right there because I see this banner or something like that, little things like that. But we could definitely go through, a miniature redevelopment plan process that would just allow us to sit down, have some meetings, really flesh out some ideas, come with some options, some examples from other communities. And then at least, like I said, either potential investors or property owners that are already there know that they've got our support for specific ideas. And like John says, that doesn't mean that whatever we draw on paper is what's gonna happen, but it allows us to kind of try and kick the ball and see if it keeps rolling.
And if that property is purchased by someone, when they want to do something and they come to Stephanie or they come to us and say, we'd like to do something, and we say, well, we've kind of got some ideas for that. Do you think you could work our ideas into what you're trying to do? Which is what we've done with the tire store on 15th Street. We've asked them, we're trying to dress up 15th Street. We want to do some sidewalks. We want to do these trees. We want to do these things. And they were open to doing that. So maybe we could find
Absolutely.
the next owners or these current owners at some point in time willing to do the same thing.
Jump in, yep.
But it gives us something to be ahead of the curve, so it's sitting there, even if it collects dust for a while, it's sitting there, and when they come, we're not scratching our heads trying to
Look
figure
at
out
this, yep.
what to do.
We want the EDC to be a part of that as well.
Main Street's already kind of talked about they would love to do a mural that's kind of the ones that you either City of Canyon or you're the Y and you stand in it. So that is something that has been brought up as the mural project.
So it sounds like we have some support to do that.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll put it on
We'll
our,
find a calendar,
let's
find
get
a
that
date.
started list, yep. Okay. Number 3 is the major event festival site. We feel like we're more than halfway there with things that have happened at the lumberyard. There's a lot of funding that have come from EDC, from the city to support that. Concerts are happening. They've got space for 6,000 to 10,000 people out there, which is huge that's half of our population, right? Can go out there and enjoy a concert. So we're glad to see that. I don't know if Joe, if you had any additional comments on that specific
No, I
item.
think, obviously before we did this, that venue has come to fruition, and they're obviously putting heavy dollars in out there. They're hitting it head on the concert front. I know Stephanie and I have talked a lot about on a major event. That was one thing that Commission talked about a lot. We still need to probably continue that. I do think we want to probably sit back and see how this goes and see how it takes off. It's been successful so far. We're going to continue to support that success, but I think we'll hash out the major event. We've got one major event just scheduled. I know they didn't mention us, but we were a large player and bringing the junior college national title to Kenyon. We played a big role in that. And Stephanie had put a lot of put into that. So that's one major event we're bringing to town. I think this was supposed to be kind of a festival, major type event, but, it has some of that. And I think we got that, 4 years? So we're committed on that for sure. So we have done some of that, at least to that degree. We'll continue to see what we can do on the major event. I know we've talked about it quite a bit, but
Well,
we're not quite there.
John and I were talking on the phone earlier. I don't know how many people in this room were on the square Saturday morning, but that was a major event.
That was
The
awesome.
farmer's market kickoff
It
this year.
was big deal, pretty spectacular.
It was amazing. So first time I've seen the full square on a farmer's market day, and I'd be surprised if there was less than 6,000 people that came throughout those 4 hours.
Anything we can support like that is wonderful,
Yeah.
because the work is being done by another organization. If we can just support it to help it grow, it's not on us, it's on them, and they're doing well.
Current businesses were appreciative of the crowds.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
They
yeah, it
sold
was-
out, so they went to.
So people kept looking, yep, yeah. We were there at 10 and most of the booths were sold out, which is, yeah, it was very cool to get to see that crowd. 1,000 dogs and 1,000 babies, it was cool.
You know, I think this one, to me, is a huge win for the strategic plan and the comprehensive plan, and talked about that with the EDC too. You know, yeah, there are big private dollars, but huge investment, $500,000 investment by the EDC, and it'll be 300,000 or 400,000 on the city's standpoint, but that's a big piece. I mean, we'll figure out the events, but we got what this is we've got
Absolutely.
that event side out there now.
Absolutely.
I mean, and if we
That's a
do
big win.
have a festival event one day, I
We
mean,
will have a festival.
when we will, it's either gonna be on the square or it's gonna be out there, you know, we
will.
have some places to choose.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We will.
Or both.
Both.
Why not?
Yeah.
So,
John will always speak up for the square.
yeah,
Did pretty good on Saturdays, John.
Yeah.
Correct.
that's
We gotta
awesome.
continue.
That's exactly right.
Stephanie and I have a multi.
I do think that that number 3 on that list probably exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and the fact that someone came in and did it.
It did, yeah, and Danny Bird and Rachel Bird have been big players in that, and Kelpie and all them, and so I give them kudos, and we're working with them on the building safety side very closely on a lot of that.
It's gonna be good. Number 4, Project Santa Fe, you know, direction and next steps was what was in there, and that's done. So I know we're under construction still, it's not completed, but as far as a strategic plan goal, we definitely view that as completed. It's just in process, so,
One of the things on, if, just so y'all know, before this was released, that was Project Santa Fe, because we couldn't tell everybody, but that's the Pondaseta deal, was Project Santa Fe. And so that was right before that project was almost done. One of the things Lucas and I have talked about is Harold West is probably the lead running that project out there and doing a lot of construction. And he and Craig Brown have been very much discussion, probably weekly.
oh,
if
they
not
talk at least once a week.
at least once a week, and you know that's what I was telling Lucas is that's what I was expecting from this 380 agreement. It's almost, I wouldn't say privileged treatment, but it kind of is good in a way, you know. And so Daryl and Caleb and them, you know, have direct access to building safety side to ask those questions, ask suggestions, and all that, and a more fluid conversation than we normally have, which we always welcome, please.
Always.
But Daryl is one of those that, you know, he's wearing it out, and that's what I was hoping that this relationship would be, is trying to have that really good collaboration. And they're moving forward. They're probably investing significant, I know they're investing more money than they expected. It's taking a little bit longer, but it will be worth it in the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's looking great out there. Number 5, golf course project, direction and funding, that's complete. We're just anticipating installation starting this fall. Number 6, decorative lighting, traffic signals, that's pending funding. We're always looking for options and ways to get there. And then number 7, the WTMU interlocal agreement,
It's on my desk. I'm working to
You've got
to
a
get it
draft.
finalized.
Yep. so we're getting very close to finishing that for Russell Long Boulevard. Any questions or comments? Awesome, thank you all.
Good stuff. You made a lot of progress, actually. I like it.
I'm very happy where we've moved through on that progress. I'd say in the next 24 months, we might want to go again at this. We'll probably, I don't know if we'll use the same
I think
consultant.
Lyle's retiring.
Yeah, Lyle will retire, we'll find another consultant, but is there any opposition to do this in the next 24 months?
When was this one built? When was it started?
21? I think Cody, Gary, John, 21?
I'd have to look. It may have been 20, it might have been 20. Sort of COVID.
It was a lot. I mean, I know he talked to every commissioner, more than once, I think, and he was here multiple times doing collaboration, and a lot of it's, you know, Cody might vote, he might be in favor of this one, and Gary would be a little more favor, and then he'd kind of consolidate that data and rank it all. Very old school. very old school in that type of thing, but
I agree.
Or paper oriented.
yeah, accountability.
John's kind of pal.
Notebooks, Bo, they have notebooks on paper.
Bo has the least amount of paper in any office in this building.
Yes. This whole office, we should stop.
I try and battle him on that, but he wins every time.
Well, good deal. Well, are some big wins on that. I think it's, probably some big wins we didn't necessarily expect
See
that
at the
those might
time.
take place. So I think that's huge. We still got a few on there that, we'd like to dig into. Some huge wins, so. All right, item number 10, consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1209, master schedule of charges and fees, and ordinance amending the City of Canyon, Texas City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 37, master schedule of charges and fees, providing for the addition of new and amendment of certain other fees and charges, providing a repealing clause, providing a severability clause for publication and effective date. Mo?
Thank you very much. The updates to the fee schedule is part of the annual budget process. We do typically do this in July or August, but because this does include some changes to some utility rates and fees, we are doing it a little bit earlier to allow time for our communications team to put together some materials and make sure that everybody is informed before any changes go into place as of October 1st. A quick summary of some of the items that are going to be changing. The Canyon Area Library is removing their room deposit. There was a requirement for anybody to have a active library card to reserve a room. We're just removing that charge or the refundable deposit to reserve that room. The municipal court is reducing the expunction filing fee from $100 to $30. They are adding a juvenile delinquency prevention and graffiti eradication fine of $50. This is part of the Code of Criminal Procedure Article 102.0171. This will not go into effect until January 1st of 2025. Paladuro Golf Course is increasing their green fees by $1. This is a part of our plan to make sure we have enough cash available to make the debt payments for the irrigation construction. Another $1 increase this year, $1 again next year, and then $1 again the year after that. In addition to what is on this fee schedule, the golf course is also requesting an increase to their permits. The single permit fee is currently $1,080 for the year. They would like to increase that to $1,150 for the year. That's a $70 increase, with $25 of that going to the CIP fund to make the debt payment. Also, the senior permit fee of $720. It is currently $690. They would like to increase that to $720. It's a $30 increase, $12 of which would go to the CIP fund to cover the debt service payment.
Was that a part of the original plan?
It was not, no. The original plan looked at the daily green fees. They would like to increase it, the permits as well. They've been looking at other golf courses to be comparable. They see the opportunity there to make sure we have enough, first off, to cover that debt service payment, possibly eliminating the need in further years to increase $1, but also to make sure that we have some growth going into operations for the golf course.
And I'll throw it out there. We thought we were going toward the green fee, and that wasn't. The permits weren't pitching in on the green fee. And so we need the permits to pitch in on the green fee. And that came from Casey, and he's very comfortable with those rates. Those are competitive rates, so he felt like he was comfortable with the rate increase. That did not come from us.
So the people that have annual permit don't pay green fee?
That's correct.
Correct.
They don't pay a
So
green fee.
will that, like you're saying, that those are gonna be increased $1 for the next 2 years, is that gonna be a step increase also?
I don't know if we'll do that or not. We'll have to discuss that with
So
Casey.
y'all lump summed that, proportional for those 3 years, for the next 2 years on those ratepayers? They're paying
Say
up
that
there?
again?
So instead of going up in a step proportionally on the green fees, you haven't done that, the annual permits.
Correct.
So you've calculated that for the
No, I
next
think,
3?
I think we'll be happy with this amount that we're taking here. I don't know that I'll have to step them.
So was the dollar amount determined based on what everybody else is paying, or is it based on what you need for the CIP?
It's based on the percentage, actually is what you pulled it out, correct?
The dollar amount was set without the CIP needs in consideration.
Correct, as far as the
So this
dollar.
isn't about the CIP.
Correct.
We're just raising the rates because everybody else is raising them.
As to why, I would ask.
No, Casey felt like it was appropriate to raise the rates at this point in time, based on that. And then we wanted to make sure that they were participating in the funding of the irrigation system.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, Casey set the dollar amount. I assigned a percentage based off of the daily green fees of that increase that would go to the CIP fund. So it's not all going to operations.
So what was the single? The single was going to what?
It is currently $1,080 annually. It would go up to $1,150, which is a $70 increase.
We're just we want to make sure that as the golf course, I'll speak for the golf course, we're trying to make sure that we're covering our debt. And the golfers, as we've all said all along, the golfers are gonna pay for the new irrigation system. And that was a plan that Joe brought to us 3 years ago, and turned out it's worked out great, and you all have supported that, and we appreciate that. We wanna make sure that we're able to make that note payment, and that first year, that note payment, Bo, is approximately
330,000-ish. Thought,
we have that?
Joel's got it, his office.
maybe that's the COs I'm looking at. Maybe I'm thinking COs.
Yeah.
That sounds like water.
380 is the COs.
That's a little much, yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with raising those rates. The only concern I have is, there's a couple. One of them is that was not a part of what we talked about. And now we're adding that into this calculation. And so, that's just a question I have. And then the second thing is, if we're gonna approve that, obviously it's not written up here. And we haven't given, golfers notice of this unless y'all have done it some other way.
The rates go up in January, and so yes, they do. They'll put up notification prior to that.
But they weren't given notification of this so they could come here today and speak about it.
Previously, we would come to you in December with the rates, so this is the most lead. And we post the rates up there, and it's kind of
But
is
what
what
I'm
it is.
saying is, you've posted the increase in rates on the people that are gonna pay green fees, but you have not posted the rates
Doesn't have-
increase on annual permit. So they can't come here today and
They don't know
voice
what
an
we
opinion
discussed.
about the increase.
It didn't make it to the sheet, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Casey came in late on that, is the reason why it didn't make it to the sheet. We will, that can certainly be changed at a later time if you all.
It's just a concern for me. I'm just a dude. I'm one vote. Don't change anything on my behalf.
That service is just under 330 per year, so 328.
So we're trying to make sure that we've got that covered.
I might add, the golf course doesn't break even. And
Oh, I'm well
We're
aware.
consuming more and more excess out of the utility fund. So that's getting claimed for other projects. We've got less to supplement the golf.
And just as soon as we start making this note payment, then we will quickly turn around and have to raise the rates for revenue. Because these rates that we've been increasing have not been for revenue. And so this is just we had to get us to the point that we could pay our pay for our note. And once we get to that, the next set of raises are gonna go for revenue. Because we understand that too, that we're free lunch. And we need to we need to start to send that back in, because that's, by them paying for that, by those green fees paying for that, in theory, that's $300,000 of revenue that could have been straight revenue had we made those increases and put them toward revenue versus the bond. But this was the best way we thought that we could pay for that and have the golfers entirely pay for that. And as far as I know, Casey will tell you year in and year out as far as rates. That guy, 2 or 3 people will say something and then we all pay the rates and it all just moves on, because that's the sport.
So if you look at the senior single, so at $720, that gets them roughly equal to about 27 times to play, if you will, for the year. If you look at the single just permit, at $1150, that gets them anywhere from 32 to 37 times to play without. Should it be more equal?
I think that the idea is that
Paid
it
for itself.
typically,
Well, I
there's
get it, but
There's some that wear that out to the nth degree, and there's some that don't.
we have people that come in, purchase it give it for a gift, and that person never plays. And then we have people that just wear us out.
And then the seniors can only golf during the weekday.
right, and then the other ones can do weekends.
But that's who's wearing us out. And we had the senior discount there for seniors. I mean, we typically
Lots of them.
like to do that.
So essentially you're using the price to drive them to the weekdays,
Drive who?
the
Seniors.
seniors.
Yeah, well, they're gonna play then. That's when they have
For sure,
time.
yeah.
That's
what
when
I'm
they're
saying.
retired. That's when Bill Craddock plays golf. The weekend is full of tournaments. They're playing then at $150 to $250 per head.
Sorry to derail you there.
No, it's good.
I'm gonna make a note of this.
All right, Parks and Recreation. For pavilion rentals, we had previously listed Kylie Hunter Memorial Park on there as available for pavilion rentals. There's a lot of traffic there in general, and so we don't necessarily want that reserved. We want that available for everybody there. So we haven't previously allowed that to be rented, so we would like to take that off the fee schedule for that reason. All right, next we have the police department, who is asking for an an hourly increase to their off-duty police officer services from $40 to $55 an hour. Then they're going into water utilities. There is an increase for the deposits. Residential utility service deposits increasing from $50 per unit to $100 per unit. And commercial increasing from $60 per unit to $150 per unit. Water tap fees increasing the 1-inch meters for those that are upgrading from a smaller meter to 1-inch, $850. Those that are just doing the meter only, $400, and the 1-inch meter and tap, $850. I can tell you that just the supplies alone, just for the meter, costs us about $392. Just for the tap alone is $1,404. So we are taking a significant loss on those every time. We thought a $100 increase would be reasonable, but as years go by, we will be needing to increase that incrementally to better match what it's costing the city to do those changes. Then we have the water rates. These rates are along the lines of what was submitted for the rate study presented last year from NewGen. We're just staying with that plan. This is year 2 of that plan. And so we are updating the fees based on that plan. Then for sewer charges, we are looking at increasing sewer fees in order to match a recognized need for CO debt service that we are preparing for in fiscal year 26-27, of when we are recognizing that we're going to need to make those payments. So we are looking to increase the sewer rate fees now in preparation for that. It is a 5% increase for residents and a 6% increase for commercial accounts.
So this takes care of all that we're looking at doing up north in the development and all that.
Phantom Creek, the denser Spring Canyon, the lift station. If I can look at other projects that were on there.
That's it on sewer. Everything else is water above.
That's right. You're right, lift station. $5 million is part of that, for that CO for the lift station to service that region.
When do these rates, the water and sewer, take place? When does that go?
October 1st.
Is that all the rates unless otherwise specified? They'll change October 1st?
Correct. Yes,
Golf course is January.
and that one municipal fee was January 1st. Yes, everything else is October 1st.
Specifically for the utilities, what we did last year was we started passing out information about the increase in July, because that 3-month term gives people enough time, because their first bill that they receive in August isn't going to be a full bill. The one in September will be, and then by the time they get to October, it will have changed. And so this gives me and Kelly enough time to get all of the information out and to get new materials made, to get things into the hands of people who are moving in, especially because that July 1 will hit and we'll have people moving in for new 6-month leases. August will hit and that's when all the college students come in. And so I personally asked for this to be a little bit earlier because it makes sure we have enough time.
And then the last additional fee that was added was a change to the development design and development review inspection fees. I added fee on there for engineering survey in case that is needed. We spoke to High Plains, and they will not be increasing the fees that they are currently charging over the next year. So there's no need for an increase. But this is a direct cost of what we are being charged. We are then charging to those that require these inspections.
One, Joe, I'll throw it out there, but one we've asked about time is, John, the ability to go in and charge a different rate. Since Canyon citizens are paying for the pool and paying a couple $100 a year, it'd be nice if they were able to get charged a lesser fee. And I know we dug into that some, and John, you know, if
79015
at
doesn't let us
a
do
point
that.
we could do that, you know, I think that would sure be much appreciated by Canyon residents and all, because they do realize they're paying for the pool. So, but
We'll continue to look at that. It's just like John has said in the past, it's hard to police that. Zip codes is the biggest thing, but even if you live outside of town, you still have the same zip code. But with they're not doing ticket sales at all at the gate. So, at all.
it's all online.
Yes, sir. That's what makes it a little challenging. We'll continue, we'll talk to Sean again and see he and Brian.
Maybe there's some more in 2.0 that could help us there.
Yeah,
We can look at that.
we'll definitely take a look at that again. We use Gate Master is the service, I think,
Yes.
so we'll take a look at that. I cannot promise that.
A couple other things, well, I think it has been, I don't know that we've raised rates since we changed up the structure back in 2020. At a point, you know, the pool's sort of like the golf course, you know, we've got inflation, higher salaries.
Yep.
Even if it's $1, you know, per, you know, looking at increasing to make the budget slide out there.
We've looked at that, and you know, we're at $6 and $8 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and $6 the rest of the week. but we'll consider that. I mean, and it really is, we've had a great, we've already done 14,000 people through there, guests through there. It's been great. Usually that first 2 weeks, we lose 5 or 6 days because of weather. Those days are 78 degrees or 72 degrees and where it's raining. This year, we've only lost 2, and we've been killing it. They're
40,000 last year
we
total?
did 46,000 people through there last year, and we've already done 14, so we feel really good about that. Numbers are going very well. We did take a bump in our concession prices. We want to keep our concessions affordable, and so, because we feel like we sell more that way, we did bump a little bit in concessions, but that seems to be working fine. We added 2 more teachers. We had a couple of teachers that are working in the concession stand, which has been great. One of them's got a lot of experience in concessions and restaurant work. She's been a real help there the last 2 years, has really turned some things around in there and helped Brian a lot. So that's been a real plus. But it's been a good season. You know, we approved hiring 15-year-olds last year, and that's worked out well because we have a big returning class of 16-year-olds now. So that's helped Andrew. He's been good spirits about that as far as returners. We're fully staffed and feel really good about how things are opening up. Now, it hadn't gotten real hot yet, you know, and that's when it gets hard on those folks out there working, when it gets really hot. But now I would say I think we have 5 teachers that are out there with us, and and some of those are 2 to 3 years. Michael Brewer's back helping us more again, and that's terrific. That just really helps us out a lot.
I had, pass it on here, I had a big compliment from Arundel County Commissioners that they like bringing their family down to the Canyon Pool because it's such a family-friendly atmosphere. They don't put up with language, and, you know, it's a great place for kids and families to come, so.
Just had that conversation with Andrew again, and one of the terms that I kind of coined a few years ago, and we use that there still, is that, you know, we don't do that here.
That's great.
That's just that's just something we don't.
Safe place for kids.
Look around, nobody's doing that. That's not what we do here. And Andrew reported that he'll even have, you know, his staff is young, lifeguards or whatever, and they'll come up and say, hey, I've got some concerns about the way this person's dressed or whatever. And I mean, it's a 16-year-old coming over and knowing what's expected there and coming over and saying, I think we need to address this. And so Andrew really appreciates that, and so do I, because that's how we can kind of keep it that way. It looks great. The place is in great shape for put it in 2017, I guess.
I'll also say that in fiscal year 2022, looking at just direct costs and revenue, we had an operating loss at the cap of just under $105,000. Last fiscal year, 2023, that was only $86,878. Budgeted for this current year is about $53,000. So we are seeing a decrease of that operational loss every year.
Trying to work on that.
And I know John and them are buying some equipment at the end of the year or something.
Yeah, there's some things the last few years, you gotta know now, we're gonna start, there's pumps and things like that we're gonna start to work on, and sometimes they break our budget.
Buy new chairs at the end of the season.
There's things we have to
Things
do.
like that. That's been some of our overage.
The last year of the old pool, I guess 2014 or whatever that was, 16, was a $90,000 budget, and they made $45,000, so they lost $50,000. So when we're in the range of that, I feel like we're doing pretty good. If in an old pool, we lost 50,000, and if we can come in there in a great big facility that we have now, we feel good about that. But we'll keep working. Brian's always looking to make a dime, so we'll keep trying to find a way to do that.
Any other questions for Bo?
Move to adopt the ordinance number 1209, amending the 24-25 master schedule of charges and fees.
Have a motion second to adopt ordinance number 1209. Any further discussion? in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Bo.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to item number 11, executive session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.087 regarding economic development negotiations. And with that, I have 5 pleas, and we will retire into exec session.
Yeah, I got you. Is this on my deal?
We adopted the fee schedule.
Okay.